Hello YouTube, this is Dakota from Bowtied Media, and today we've got a brand new installment of This Week in EDM. The last 2 weeks and a bit, not from this past week, but the last 2 weeks, because we're a little behind. Again, life is a little bit more hectic when you have a newborn child, so that's the way it is. And as always, there is a Spotify link down below for all the songs for easy access listening. Let's hop into it. And starting us off in the bad category is Automhate and Mad Dub's remix of Dub Hit, originally by INFEKT and HAMRO featuring XAE. Yeah, I don't really love this brand new remix compilation. I think the tracks aren't really great or even close to the quality of the original. Compound that with the recent Automhate and Mad Dub's kind of the brothers' new collaborative style that I've actively disliked. This is a recipe for disaster for me. And again, I should say I'm not a huge Rhythm fan though, so take it with a grain of salt. Then we've got Riot 10 and TYNAN with Bruh. I thought I was going to really hate this song going into it because I typically dislike these kind of meme songs and, well, Riot 10 in general as of late. But I think TYNAN did a lot of heavy lifting here to really balance out the meminess of the track and add some production value. That being said, I don't think it was enough to really take this anywhere out of the bad category. Then we got Tiësto and Rafael Cerato with Cool and Calm from the EP of the same name. Not really sure what Tiësto is going for as of late with this kind of new era of minimalistic and boring production. It's not really a great look for him, but I mean, at least it's not egregiously terrible. Then we're heading into the meh category. We've got, yes, Timmy Trumpet, Gabry, Ponte, and Darren Styles featuring Charla K with It Must Have Been Love. This song is what I imagine Timmy Trumpet thinks he makes every time he makes a song. It's not great, but it's also not bad. It's kind of just this carefree, happy, sloppy, hardcore, and it's meant to be jumped around and enjoyed at a festival, really. The midsection actually works, and I think the production isn't totally garbage, and I'm sure that's due to Darren Styles being on this thing. Then we got GorillaT, Diesel, and FRAXURE with Pay Respect. I don't know why Monstercat is so in love with this freeform bass genre as of late and signing so many tracks like it onto Uncaged, but they clearly are doing numbers because they are just pumping these things out. And yeah, sonically it's not too bad, it's just a pretty boring, and Shaq's rapping is so whatever here, and the draps are decent, but they're just trying to do too much all at the same time while not really accomplishing much, but I think it's just meh. We got Notaker with 1999, another vibey new wave track from Notaker, but yet another one that doesn't really have that pizzazz of the past. The kicks are still too hot, and it doesn't really feel like Notaker's having a ton of fun while making these tracks as of late. It's almost as if it sounds like these are a chore to release and make, but yeah, I don't know. Then we got PhaseOne and Banks Arcade with Pulse. Haven't been loving these latest few singles from this PhaseOne upcoming project, and it's kind of this blend of dubstep and rock, and I don't know, I feel like it's been done to death a ton at this point, and there isn't really anything new that this song provides in the space. Then we got William Black featuring Kate Morgan with Save Me. William Black going very dance pop with this latest cut, and I don't think it's a very good look for him. The track is fine, the production isn't too bad, but it's trending in a direction I do not love. We got Marshmello and Arco with Worlds Apart. Marshmello reaching back to his early days of production for this newest future bass electropop leaning cut. The vocals are fine and the mixing is pretty flat, but stylistically I do like this style from Marshmello more so than what he's done recently. Then we got Black Tiger Sex Machine with Protocol from the new Omen EP. As the lead track from this EP, I do think it does a decent job of being a real tone setter while not waiting too long to hop into the swing of things with the track individually. Although in a vacuum though, this track is fairly generic, intense Black Tiger Sex Machine that lives and dies by how dense the sound design is. I'm fairly neutral on this one. Then we got HVDES and Figure with Polaris. A fairly fine dubstep track that feels pretty generic at times, especially within the landscape of the dark and edgy dubstep world. Then we got KSHMR and Izzy with Diamond in the Rough. Not a bad tune from KSHMR, but just a touch too boring. KSHMR's more commercial-leaning drum and bass tunes tend to stray too far into that simple territory without bringing anything else up in its place. Then we got Fred V and Nula with Sparks. Fairly generic drum and bass from Fred V that seems typical and quite steady. Then we got Lesso featuring Becky Hill with Surrender. For an anthemic dance pop track, the song does its job in that regard. Becky's vocals are a highlight on this track for sure, as my biggest gripe though with the production was the lackluster drops and how they didn't really support Becky's vocals. Then we got Mode Step with Shutting Down. A light and airy drum and bass cut from Mode Step, as this isn't really too typical for them, which is a nice switch up to have, but doesn't really do a whole ton with that switch up. Then we got Subtronics with Fibonacci Part 1 from Fibonacci Part 1 Oblivion. We're getting bits and pieces from this new Subtronics record, and for now, I think what we've got is pretty expected, especially this track in particular. It's that kind of typical minimalistic and intentionally empty dubstep design, but it's just more kind of memey this time around. I don't know, kind of whatever for me.
It's my new religion.
Then we got Yip Yap with New Religion. The first kind of, I would say, mini miss from Yip Yap for me, and I've been loving this Dactyl and Benny Ola collab alias, but this track is a little bit too reserved and slow for my personal liking.
I see you watching me.
Then we got Enima featuring Yeet with Work. I actually think production-wise, this is some of Enima's best as of late. But as someone that really dislikes mumble rapping, I cannot get into this song at all. So yeah, Enima is great. Yeet, yikes. Then we got One True God featuring Cassidy with Sometimes. Another quick 2-minute track from One True God that definitely doesn't overstay its welcome. It comes in hot, does what it needs to, and gets out of there just as quickly. A nice sounding track, but yes, could have benefited from a longer runtime for sure. And then we're hopping into the good category because they got a ton of good songs that have released the last 2 weeks. We've got Enzo and LS Dream with Artifacts of a Higher Dimension. Another beautifully atmospheric track from these two, but doesn't go above and beyond the norm. I love the setting and the tone, but that's all the song really is. So a great track to vibe to, honestly. Then we got John Summit featuring Inez with Light Years. A fun, seemingly carefree new John Summit track that is very much aiming for those big streaming numbers, but does so without feeling too pandering. The production is smooth, the vocals are great, it's fairly tame, but a solid example of good modern dance pop. Then we got Dub Vision, Nicky Romero, and Oaks with Live My Life. A fairly straightforward festival progressive house song, but one that I could easily see myself really enjoying in the live context, and is kind of just fine when listening by myself. Then we got Biscuit and Andrea Botez featuring Sarah DeWarren with Going Under. I've been fairly critical of Andrea and Biscuit's tracks up to this point, but I do believe this is their strongest yet. It's still very much trend chasing within the techno sphere, but it has a little bit more of a spice to it in the background, keeping me wanting to actually come back to this one for sure. Then we've got Dr. P and Flux Pavilion with Flashback from the new Dr. P and Flux Pavilion album. Flashback is definitely the right name for this, as this is a true callback to an earlier, more simple time in EDM history, one in which Dr. P and Flux Pavilion came up through. And I can't really fault the track for feeling a little dated, as it's equally nostalgic for me. Then we got Shingo Nakamura and Warung with Worlds Apart. I mean, it's another melodic house Shingo track that sounds oh so beautiful, and I especially really love the bit of vocal work as well. Then we got Fluco with Higher Than You. Rigid future bass is maybe the best way to describe this track, as Fluco continues to play around their distinct sound design and production to great success. Then we got Snail's House with Meteor Girl from the new Alien Pop 5 EP. Pretty much Snail's House in their usual tip-top form, fast-paced, quiet future bass with lots of drum work that really feels like it could be in a number of rhythm games. Then we got Meganeko with Judgment, a long 5.5-minute banger of a Meganeko epic with hits of mid-tempo, dubstep, and a lot of stuttering in the back end. It's a really unique track that you gotta listen to. Then we got Cascade and Lipless with State of Mind, a more simple cut from Cascade that reminds me a lot of the early kind of 2010s house and trance, but otherwise it's a solid full-sounding track. Then we got Mern with Light Through the Leaves from the new Heal EP. Mern's been on a melodic house bender as of late, and I really do think it's working well for him. He's adding some more digital elements and making the background a little bit more playful than your typical song of this style.
Yo, in the zone with girls, cause they ain't ruining Keaton. No grind, no D&B, then babe, I'm leaving.
Then we got Teddy Killers, Serum, and P Money with We Love Drum and Bass. A lot is happening on this track, and I do appreciate the hip-hop influences as well. That being said, I think it's a little too on the nose sometimes. Yes, I do also love drum and bass, but you don't need to spell it out so much for me. Then we got Zensei with Colors. I love seeing more, specifically Monster Cat Silk and Instinct brand crossing over, and this was a great track and artist to do that with. Sensei plays things a little bit more playful than is typical for him, and I do think it really works. It's still got that classic garage beat, but just with a little bit more of a prevalent atmosphere to the whole thing. Then we got DUBZ with Henka from the new Henka EP. Bright and happy future rhythm is the name of the game here, and this track in particular does a good job of establishing the tone for this EP as its lead single. It really is great to hear some more happy rhythm, and I know a lot of you are really enjoying this project. Then we got Amanu featuring Amelia Ali with It Doesn't Matter. Amanu with new yet familiar territory, a more jittery and atmospheric cut than we're used to, with a bit more reserved beat that favors that kind of standard floor on the floor type beat. A neat track that feels like a slight stylistic detour from his norm, but one that I still very much enjoy. Then we got Laszlo with Gradient, a calm, cool, and collected new Laszlo single that doesn't do anything too significant one way or another, yet has this old school Daft Punk vibe to it. I think almost like early Homework days with this one. Then we got Drinks on Me and Why So Low with Save Me Now, an A-B of stuttering deep house cuts that very much resonate with my palate. It's a little bit more on the simple side of things, but it has the subtle vocal stuttering and ever-present drum kit that makes it feel much more impressive. Then we got Jules with Hacking the Gate from the new Enderchrome EP. Another stellar Jules track on a stellar EP. This song in particular stays true to that trap sound design, but explores a uniquely kind of old school Euro trance genre at the same time. The track sparkles and shines, and quite frankly, it's fantastic. Then we got Last Heroes and Cloud None with Alone, a euphoric dance pop track that just works. It's not too much of a commercial bait cut, but a song that actively wants to impress and wow with its sense of joy and passion. Then we got Riot with Try Again. Riot is trying their hardest to recapture the glory that was their run of 2017 to 2019 tracks, and I feel like they are slowly getting back on track. This is a pretty solid cut with a lot of similar structural elements to that era of theirs, but still has yet to reach the former intensity of that era as well. Still a fun song though. Then we got Affinity and Starseed featuring Tyler Graves with Different Ending, a strong mellow-dub Ophelia release that has many of the same mellow-dub tropes and cliches, but it comes packaged with a bright and vibrant rapping, then takes it all away on a dime for a crushing back end. Then we got Arcando with California Dreamin'. I think Arcando might be one of my favorite D&B producers right now, so I'm probably a little biased on this track, but I love the reverbed out vocal chanting as it really gives something more to latch onto than your kind of typical D&B norm, especially when the track stays pretty steady in the midsections. Then we got Armin van Buuren and Rob Swire with Sound of You. After a slew of very underwhelming 2025 releases from Armin van Buuren, he really turned it up for this Rob Swire collab, as it's easily my favorite Armin track this year. It's part throwback nostalgia, part modern anthemic finale, and part peak Rob Swire vocals. Then we got Dua Lipa featuring Troye Sivan with Physical. I mean, without Troye Sivan, this is already a dance pop classic, and honestly, I don't think it needed Troye, but I do think he did a decent amount on this track to kind of make it a little bit more unique. The verse was solid, and the ad-libs throughout really helped differentiate this from the original just enough. Then we got More Kismet with Pleasure from the new A.B. release. I think More Kismet is really starting to find this balance between freeform, kind of colorful trap production, and a more standard 4-on-the-floor beat structure. And it might just be their best style yet. Then we got Puppet featuring Sad Boys with Easier on Me. Probably the least EDM of the Puppet singles leading towards this new album, as it sounds very much like his New York Family era. So if you love the more kind of punk metal side of Puppet, you'll love this one. Then we got Beast Boy featuring Jack Blom and Sidkicks with Control Put It Down from the new Blood of the Stars album. This track is a far more reserved and commercial-leaning track from Beast Boy relative to what he's been putting out. The verse sections have this really nice trap beat, while the drops have this more like mystical, squeaking synth that really explores the space. This is a unique track for Beast Boy, and I'm loving it.
All these impermanent connections.
Then we got Fox Stevenson with Exile is a Habit. This track prefaces almost like it's going to be more of an interlude with kind of Fox's soft vocal performance and absent beat, but it does transform into a fully fledged track with a real emotional overtone. Then we got Retrovision and Guy Arthur with All Night. Have I mentioned how much I really like Guy Arthur's bass house? Because, man, I love this, and this is a great Monster Cat debut, and just another testament to his dominance in the genre. This track is snappy, packs a punch, and sounds so magical. Then we got Habstract with From Within from the new From Within Part 1 EP. A very Knock 2 sounding bass house track, and I just enjoy it. It's different enough that it sounds more like an homage to Knock 2 and not a knockoff, and still sounds like a Habstract tune in the process. Excited for this holistic project to release in whatever form it will be. Then we got Chami and Odoro with Late Night Secrets. One of the best Chami tracks in a while. It's a grooving bass house track with a big synth hit and a fantastically paired vocal performance as well. Then we got Bad Computer with Move Like This. The year of Bad Computer continues, and this time it's with a funky tech house banger. For a genre that I believe to be pretty stale right now, I think this goes to show that you can have fun in any genre and really add your own unique spin to anything and make it great. A lot of it comes down to the producer, not the genre. Then we got Protostar, Laminar, and I'm Alright with Blood in the Water. Absolutely crushing collaboration of drum and bass legends in the scene, and it really just shows their prowess as a trio. One of the best drum and bass tunes of the year so far for sure. If you slightly enjoy drum and bass, you'll surely enjoy this one. Then we got Theodore Shapiro with Music of Wellness, the ODESZA Severance remix from the new Music to Refine 2, a remix companion to Severance. First things first, I don't really watch much TV or TV shows in general, but I've watched through Severance Season 1 and 2, and it is without a doubt one of the best pieces of medium that I have consumed this side of the decade. I cannot suggest it enough to go watch Severance. But that is also paired with ODESZA here, one of my favorite all-time artists, and they went and did a whole remix package to the soundtrack, and it is just pure heaven for me, honestly. The songs are still a vibe, and I love the creepiness of the original still being there, just a bit, but not too much to sound too eerie to listen to by itself. Then we got Eptic and Space Laces with Crash Out. I mean, we sort of knew that these two on a track together were going to be incredible, and they did not disappoint. This might simply be one of the best songs in bass music this year. This track has a great balance of Eptic and Space Lace's own sound designs, while being an absolute banger of track in its own right. And moving into the standout category, we've got Hamdi and Liney with Orchid. Sometimes simple is best, and my goodness, this track has me feeling all sorts of nostalgia and bliss. This thing is a great blending of kind of bass house, a bit of garage, a bit of IDM. It feels so weird and so unique, yet also European at the same time. It's kind of a weird mix of everything, and I love it. It's funky. It doesn't do a whole ton, but what it does, it is fantastic. And yes, my number one track of the week is Skrillex. I'm going to go with Voltage for this one, from the new You Skrillex, You Think You're Andy Warhol, But You're Not album. Well, it may not be the fullest version of the song, but Voltage has finally had an official release, and the track is just quite simply fantastic. And yeah, this is the kind of just truest definition of a throwback track, and it really made me miss this era of bro step that I grew up on, and part of the reason that I'm even doing videos like this. But that's been this week, the last 2 weeks in EDM, also midweek, and so I'm not including the ones from this week, but you guys know the thing at this point. I'm late all the time on these videos, but that's been this week in EDM. Let me know what you think of any and all songs in the comment section below, but other than that, I'm Dakota from Bowtied Media, and I'll see you guys in another video.